And we're live. Oh, hi. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the Generic Live Show. Oh, hang on. Let me mute that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Generic Live Show. This is GLS for the 9th of October 2016. And we are pressing that big button. Press the big button. I pressed the big button and we're ready to go. All right. It begins in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your Generic Live Show. This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another show. That's right, we're here yet again another Sunday to inform and entertain you as per normal. Again, I know it right at the top here. Apologies for no show last week. I had some commitments on last minute host the show, which is quite unfortunate. But we're back again this week at bigger than, well, we're still the same size, but we're cramming more into the show this week. Right off the bat, our prayers with those people of Florida. In just a couple of minutes here, we'll start analyzing what has happened with this massive hurricane. Hurricane Matthew, it's called in Florida. But I want to get to a housekeeping note here at the top of the show. Yes, next week we are doing our big announcement. Bonanza. Our announcement Bonanza is what's going to happen to the end of 2016 and a little bit into 2017. Ooh, that's right. So that's happening. That's coming up here in this week. But I want to mention we've had a permanent home. It is not a temporary home, a permanent home. Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time in the US at geek-io.net/live. You can see me hello if you're watching on geek.io, or you can watch it later on the YouTube archive. It'll be in the recent shows archive, recent live shows archive as well. We're permanently here 7 till 9 over the Eastern Time. So when daylight savings changes, it's not going to change at a time slot. We are going to be moving with it. We're going to be moving an hour later in November, but after extra light happens, after the first weekend in November, we're going to be moving time slots. We're going to be moving back an hour, so we're going to be moving till 10 till midnight. Our old time slot is coming back, so that's exciting stuff. But we're a Sunday show, like all the rest of them, so it's good to be here. So 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 Central is what the time slot is. For 2 hours, we're here for 2 hours of your Sunday, but it's good to have that permanent fixture. Now, to the news of the week, because you really don't want to hear me blabbering on about myself for too long. You want to get me to get to the news of the week, which is why you tune in here every single Sunday. Now, Hurricane Matthew has been causing havoc on the east coast of Florida, and it is not over yet. Hurricane Matthew was leaving the coast behind a record-breaking flooding Saturday at the center of the storm, moving out into the Atlantic Ocean, dragging bands of heavy rain with it across eastern North Carolina. The Category 1 hurricane was dropping 8 to 20 inches of rain in the Tar Heel State and southeast Virginia. This rainfall is leading to record-breaking flooding over portions of eastern North Carolina, and it may result in life-threatening and flash flooding elsewhere in the region. Authorities say that 10 people have passed away, and Matthew is expected to weaken in the next 24 hours. That is CNN's reporting. According to ABC News, Matthew was no longer a hurricane, according to ABC, at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, so a little over 2 hours ago, 2 hours and 4 minutes ago, it was downgraded to a tropical storm. As it made an eastward turn, we get to move into the Atlantic at 14 miles an hour. Why is that calendar there? I don't know what that calendar there. Go away. The newly minted post-tropical storm Matthew has maximum sustained winds of up to 75 miles an hour. Despite the downgrade, ABC News meteorologist Daniel Menzo cautions, quote, record-breaking flooding will continue in the eastern North Carolina this morning and will come to end later on Sunday. The Outer Banks and Atlantic will continue to see very gusty winds and heavy rains this morning. From the NHC Atlantic Faults, we're just getting that in now. The latest advisory number 45, I believe. This is bringing that. We're going to bring that here to you. We're getting it up. And difficulties loading it. Around the same time, the National Hurricane Center announced that Matthew has been downgraded to the North Carolina Office for Emergency Management, confirmed a 5th death in Pitt County overnight due to the weather. Sea advisory for post-tropical storm Matthew. It doesn't have a summary definition of the core represents that. That is not what I want. What I want is that one. Okay. So at 5 a.m. Sunday, it is moving outward. Moving outward off the coast, expect to be fairly off the coast by 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. It is expected, however, to turn around and hit Florida again after that point. The tracking map is only showing it heading out towards the sea and actually remaining to be a tropical depression at that point. 5-day track on. It has no 5-day track. That's all it's tracking at the moment. That is from the National Hurricane Center. Let's hear words now from some reports on the ground. This one's coming from ABC first, then we've got the CNN report to back it up.
Hurricane Matthew still menacing the southern coast with life-threatening storm surges. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is reporting from inside the storm zone.
Hurricane Matthew continuing to wreak havoc, humbling the Florida coastline.
Just how bad it has gotten here as
the powerful Category 2 hurricane showing its force. Torrential downpours and powerful winds up to 110 miles per hour. In Haiti, the death toll soaring, the storm leaving close to 300 dead. Here in St. Augustine, Florida, devastating flooding.
More than 1 million people without power here in Florida. We are part of that group staying at a hotel, no power here. They used glow sticks to light the way to the hallway.
The storm's dangerous center as it moves north. States of emergency declared in Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Matthew tearing through Melbourne and Vero Beach, too. In his aftermath, water taking over the town, swallowing park benches, whole streets, tearing up roofs and tearing down trees. More than 3 million people fleeing their homes from Florida up to the North Carolina coast as Matthew now sets his sights on Georgia.
The 8 o'clock advisory now for Hurricane Matthew down to a Category 1 hurricane at 85 miles per hour, very close to Charleston, South Carolina, just off the coast of Folly Beach at this hour. There still will be gusts, though, likely over 100 miles per hour. The storm is turning to the right, glancing off the Isle of Palms, eventually toward Myrtle Beach, and then all the way toward Wilmington, and then into the Atlantic Ocean for maybe a big loop. We'll have to see. At this point in time, the loop may not be anything of interest. By the time it gets back down to the south, the storm may be completely torn up. Significant storm surge overnight in the Savannah area, in the Tybee Island area, and also into Charleston. Charleston, you still have about 4 or 5 hours before high tide. Charleston's low tide this morning. The high tide should have been. So now that we push the water back in with high tide, Charleston will be flooding all morning into the afternoon. It could be a very ugly morning, an ugly afternoon for Charleston and those surrounding areas. Now we'll take a look at what's going on here. Rain all the way to D.C., rain all the way into Virginia, as far south as Georgia. As we zoom in, we'll see that heavy rainfall with some very heavy bands around Folly Beach, moving up to about Sullivan's Island and then into the Isle of Palms area and even the Wild Dunes, picking up very heavy wind and very heavy rainfall. The problem with this storm, I think, is still going to be the storm surge. Storm surge is the water that is pushed by the hurricane. Now, typically on a Category 1 where we are now, we'd have maybe 2 to 3, maybe as much as 4 to 5 feet of storm surge. But because this storm was a Category 3, and for a while a Category 4, for so long, this will likely have more surge than a typical Category 1 hurricane. It may, pushing up some of these estuaries in the low country, get all the way to Category 3 type surge. So if you're still in the way and you're hunker down, try to stay out of the way of this. This water will be forceful and the wind's still coming in. We could see high tides, especially around 1, 2, 3 o'clock, depending on where you are along the coast, 5 to 7 feet above where you should be, maybe as much as 9 feet above normal high tide. That could be deadly.
Proved to be deadly, and just it's unfortunate that it has been proved to be deadly, but that's what it has been. Of course, some of that information is a little bit off, considering, well,
Heading to Polls this week.
let's not do that, because of what it's the time the hurricane does not stop for the show to start up-to-date information. We're doing all the best we can as on a Sunday to find that the destruction that it has found uphill in that coast. Now, we'd be remiss to kind of not mention this other storm at this point. Storm Nicole, which is currently a storm, but it's heading up towards the path of where Matthew will be, but it's moving at a very slower pace and will potentially be a hurricane. On 2 a.m. on Friday, it's looking like it actually might miss Matthew by the tracking poles. Thankfully, it's going to be missing it by the looks of things. Thank God, because it's moving so slow. Currently, it's predicted to be up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean by 2 a.m. Friday, but it's moving away from the coast at this point. Important to emphasize that it is moving away from the coast. And it's currently between 39 and 73 miles per hour. That is tropical storm Nicole. Not posing any threat to the current coast, but still, the fear is that Matthew might collide with Nicole and power up again and hit Florida for a second time. That, of course, is the fear that anyone would have if they're talking about any tropical storm, of course, need to be wary of that. We've been remiss if we don't recap a little bit. Matthew has left 2.2 million households and businesses without power across the southeast region at 1 a.m. on Sunday. Eastern Time, North Carolina officials says that there was 670,000 power outages across the state. In South Carolina, there were 768 power outages. Georgia was expecting 205,000 power outages, and Florida still had 561,000 power outages as early as Sunday morning. People encouraged to, of course, evacuate, but they just, it's I know what it's like to wake up to devastation, having lived through tropical storms here locally. It's crazy to wake up one morning and it's just you have to hunker down in times like this. It's moving away from the coast at the moment, thankfully, but the chance that it may still swing around and hit for a second time, that's rough. But people waking up today, our presence are with them, and of course we're going to keep you guys updated. We're doing this again second hour. We're giving you all of the information that you need to take on the next to take on the week. The stuff I have was updated at 5:25 a.m. Eastern Time from ABC, and at 3:20, that's GMT on the CNN side. I want to see if there's anything fresher than that. Probably not, but still want to see what is this. It hasn't officially made landfall. Okay. So it officially did make landfall at 11 a.m. on Saturday in McLeanville, South Carolina, at a Category 1 status. The state of emergency was called as far north as North Dakota. Not North Dakota, it's North Carolina, excuse me. And the death toll from this storm down there even is at 800. 10 people have died according to CNN. 3,544 flights were cancelled to flightaware.com. 2.2 million power outages. Man killed in Savannah. Major bridge in Charleston is closed. People working on power outages. It's devastating. What this story has. Now, before we round out this segment, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that it could swing back around again to hit for a second time. I want to know where that story is. Here's that story. Okay, that's just music. Yeah, people are worried that it's going to potentially turn around. It's too early to tell on that one. People were telling that it most have it going all the way around. Some have it still going all the way through. This is a while ago, so some forecasters predict that it'll go back here towards and there's not much else to say on that one. So we want to open up the broadcast, and we want to update the people of Florida as they wake up this morning on what not only Florida but the other states affected as well on what is happening with tropical cyclone Matthew as they're waking up and moving here on a Sunday. On the Generic Live Show, I feel bad for opening the show with such a this episode is such a downer. There's really not much practice for this episode. We're talking about presidential debates coming up in the next week's setup. But before that, there's hope for young people after all. We'll tell you more about it as we continue here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us. It's 9:20.
This Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audio books on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listen Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes 1 audiobook credit per month. Your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network. It is proudly sponsored by Think Geek. Think Geek, retailer of all things geeky. That's right, everything geeky. And they stock the biggest brands in geekiness, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comics, and Geek Labs. And they sell a whole bunch of things like collectibles, electronics, and gadgets, t-shirts, and apparel, gifts. They sell it all over at Think Geek. And they have free shipping on orders over $75 or a flat $6.95 US standard shipping to. So when you're ready to check out the range over at Think Geek, the online geek store, just use our link to go over to Think Geek over at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on what you buy. Don't worry, we're not stealing your shoe size or asking you for a blood sample. It's okay. We're only what you buy. We don't actually say what you buy from Think Geek. Join in, geek out, Think Geek. We thank Think Geek for their support of the Geek.io Podcast Network. Whatever the time of day, whatever the time of the night, we're here to serve you a big dose of genericness with your host, Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell. It's good to be here on a Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Of course, we'll keep you all updated on the goings on with Hurricane Matthew. That seems to be the big story, or understandably the big story of the days from Hurricane Matthew will update you guys. I was also revisiting the US election. What could be worse? You know what? I'm not going to comment on that. But you know what I'm going to comment on is the young people. Yay, young people. Go young people. Young adults more likely than their elders to prefer reading the news. Younger Americans more likely than older to prefer reading the news, while older adapt to watching the news. According to Pew Research Center, when it comes to technology infrastructure on America's young adults, again, American study, reading is not bad, at least not for the news. When they're asked whether one prefers to read, watch, or listen to the news, younger adults are far more likely than older ones to opt for text, and most of that reading takes place on the web. Overall, more Americans prefer to watch their news, 46%, than read at 35%, or to listen to it, 17%. A Pew Research Center study found earlier this year. But that varies on age dramatically. Those aged 50 years and up are far likely to prefer watching the news over any other method. 52% of 50 to 64-year-olds and 58% of those 65 or older would rather watch the news, while rather 3 and 10, 29 and 27 respectively, prefer to read it. Among those 50 and under, on the other hand, roughly equal proportions, 1 in 4, roughly 18 to 19 and ages 30 to 29, opt to read the news rather than watch it. Most of that reading among younger adults is through digital text rather than print. About 18 to 10, 81%, to 18 to 29-year-olds prefer to read the news, to get the news online rather. Just 10% to print newspaper. The breakdown is similar among 30 to 49-year-olds. Newsreaders who are aged 50 to 64, on the other hand, are more likely to be evenly split, with a preference for web 51 and print 40, whereas people older, more like along the lines of 65 or older, prefer print media as opposed to online. Now, here's an interesting one. This last one's rather interesting. But from a news presenter's perspective and a news presenter and a consumer of news, it's interesting on both fronts. Transition computer rather than television. 57% of 18 to 29-year-olds prefer to get news via the television. 37 cite web as their platform of choice. Interesting. So yeah, 10% for TV for 18 to 29, radio 49, and online 30. 20. From 30 to 49, 20% are television, 61 is radio, 15 is online. Wait, 50 to 64 is 34% on the TV, 56 on the radio, 48 and 43 respectively, and 2 secondly for the 65 plus year old. It's interesting to see because you always hear about diminishing returns on radio, diminishing returns, no one's listening to the radio anymore. Raw numbers of listeners on the radio, so you could have something here on your hands for a case of that nature, but the radio is still prominent. The radio is still everywhere. You still have a lot of people tuning in to lots of things on the radio, lots of events on the radio. Podcasts. I suppose some radio shows are turned into podcasts, and would you consider that online, or would you consider that radio? You got to think podcasting as a medium has not been around that long. You got to think choose to have choose to have listen to podcasts, for example, as their choice of medium, and pure radio or online radio. Is that online or is that television? Like video news shows. It's interesting the incestuous relationship between all of these various traditional, quote unquote, traditional mechanisms of obtaining the news and the online methods, the new methods, but kind of the fusion of the two, I find, is where the most interesting research can be taken place. As we continue here on the Genetic Live Show for a Sunday. It's the moment I have not been looking forward to all week. It's time we check back in. With about a month to go on this US presidential election, it's about time we took a moment or two on the show to check back in to see what noises both the presidential candidates and their VP picks are saying it. Please do. God, don't tell me I've got this twice in the run sheet. Goodness, as we continue here on the Genetic Live Show, I really don't want to do this next segment. Why do I do this to myself? You might see me walk out the first time. It's 9:30.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by you. That's right, you. Over at patreon.com/geekio, where you can help us out with a small monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Do you know anything that you can buy for $1 a month? I don't. That's right, though. $1 a month. There's no terms, there's no conditions. $1 per month to help us out to unlock some really, really cool goals. A goal that I personally want to help unlock is the weekly Maniple Show, which is a weekly playthrough of D&D 5th edition. It would be really cool if we could do that weekly. And you can help that happen per month. That's right, $1. $1. There's nothing you can buy with a buck these days. A buck a month would help us out tremendously. Just head on over to patreon.com/geekio to help us out. We thank you, listeners, your support.
Fine listener of this program. Here. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts, because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support to do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon, patreon.com/geekio, or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. Support section. To continue this support section, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support to keep this ever-long cycle of support up. Thank you. Never miss a minute of the Generic Live Show. Find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or on the Chef Wonder and Geek-io podcast networks. Just search the Generic Live Show and listen. This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for Sunday. So glad to be with us. So good to be here. Except I feel bad about that. fun is because what's a show without a bit of fun? Fun is thinking about the end of the world where either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump gets to become president of America. Yikes! Actually, you know what? It's been a while since we checked in on these two. I've been, 29 days, 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 47 seconds. That's right. Until America votes. Oh, yes. No, I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't know why I'm doing that. But, it's 270 to win. Actually, 270towin.com is a good website to get all of your polling information too, by the way, as well as Real Politics. 270 to win has the countdown 29 days, 2 hours, 24 minutes until America votes. And we actually, I learned lesson has brought to my attention that I haven't talked about the US election in a long time. So there's a second presidential debate on this week, and it's do we really have to kind of really think about what Trump needs to do to quote unquote win this next election, because that seems to be the focus. Trump needs to do to win the next presidential debate. The way he needs to win the next presidential debate is to. That would be a great start. But with now 29 days to go, Donald Trump is setting a critical Clinton, but opposite was afoot. The lesson, anything to win, is that Hillary Clinton back. She's not only in nationwide polling, but in the key battleground and vote-rich states. Presidency to the victor on November 8th. On Monday, the pair will face in a second of the three. A practiced Clinton performance, also to a link which I don't know what to click on, was the very catalyst that led support from Donald Trump. This makes the second Clinton to lose. Okay. I see what this article is trying to do. By the way, this is a editorial, because that is a fun pick apart. Because the way that she's going is that she can't have two good debate performances in a row. Trump has to at least get one. The thing in this article is Trump can't do bad twice. First of all, I disagree. Second of all, because I'm an alert. Hang on, I actually, I'm playing this audio because this audio is ridiculous. Because why I say that is because, where is it? I'm trying to find a video where he said something. It's not that. Someone shared it, now has deleted it because that's a thing apparently. Human delete stuff on Facebook, really never. Anyway, and about women, about how he likes women and how he wants to grope them, and it's okay by his wife to do so because, well, that's a thing. apparently Trump has this massive trick up his sleeve. I'm very optimistic about this second debate, aren't I? I just realized how I sounded. I mean, it's going into review mode, but hey. But yeah, I guess the second debate needs to have more punch to it from Trump because he didn't really deliver much punch last time. Let's listen to some audio because I'm tired of talking. Here's Trump talking about Clinton's past. Debate off, by the way, just put that out there.
Our country isn't working. So many things are going wrong. Last night, when I debated Secretary Clinton on America's future, for 90 minutes, I watched her very carefully. And I was also holding back. I didn't want to do anything to embarrass her. But I watched her. She was stuck in the past. For 90 minutes, on issue after issue, Hillary Clinton defended the terrible status quo. While I laid out our plan, all of us together, to bring jobs, security, and prosperity back to the American people. For 90 minutes, she argued. I call for dramatic change. We have to have dramatic change. We have to get rid of Obamacare. We have to strengthen up our depleted military. It's in such bad shape. Things, folks. November 8th, you have to get out there and vote. You know, you've seen all the polls. This was a fantastic guy, but Drudge, it was 80 to 20%. Trump. 80 to 20.
Okay. Well, I know that clip is a minute and 28 seconds long. There is so much to unpack there. I mean, really, there is so much there. We can talk for days about that clip, like, but we won't because I've actually got a fair bit to play out in this clip, in this segment. Even a recap of the first debate, the vice presidential debate. But I will say this. He barely played anything out in that debate. He spent the whole time, up until 30 minutes, I'll give him credit, up to 30 minutes he was defending himself, who was laying out a plan, and then tax returns. So it's this nice lazy recap of our video. Here is the debate in 3 minutes. Actually, you know what, this is bigger. Let's do this. Let's do the debate in 3 minutes. Because this will sum things up quite nicely instead of me reading all of these terrible things. It's to work. I don't think it will work, but that's okay. There was lots of winners and losers from the debate, apparently. So we'll get to those.
Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes. So, okay, I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me.
And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version of the biggest tax cuts for top percent of the people in this country that we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle-down.
We have to stop our jobs from being stolen from us. Well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well, I've been a senator.
You haven't done it. You haven't.
I have been a senator, and I have
Your husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened.
I have a feeling by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? This is something that the American people deserve to see, and I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to release his tax returns because there's something he's hiding.
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted.
I'm not going to make any excuses. It was a mistake, and I take responsibility for that.
Our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell. You walk down the street, you get shot. You have to have stop and frisk.
Who disagrees with keeping neighborhoods safe? No one should disagree about respecting the rights of young men who live in those neighborhoods. So we tried to put the whole racist birther lie to bed. But it can't be dismissed that easily.
I got to watch in preparing for this some of your debates against Barack Obama. You treated him with terrible disrespect. And I watched the way you talk now about how lovely everything is and how wonderful you are. It doesn't work that way.
Well, I think cybersecurity, cyber warfare will be one of the biggest challenges facing the next president.
As far as the cyber, I agree to parts of what Secretary Clinton said. I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia. Maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
Woo, okay. He said, you know, if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them out of the water. That would not good judgment. That is not the right temperament to be commander-in-chief.
She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina. And I don't believe she does have the stamina. To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
So I sure hope you will get out and vote as though your future depended on it, because I think it does.
That first debate in 3 minutes. 3 minutes, but we can't not leave this segment. With the release of the 2005 video, that one, okay. We can't leave this segment without shining a light on the terrible job that Lester Holt, the moderator, did on the first debate.
A good way to describe Holt's approach for the night. You know, he really picked his spots. That's what it came down to. You know, he was going to be invisible as much as he could.
So I've been a senator.
You haven't done it. You haven't.
I have been a secretary of state, and
But he also didn't want to just become a total doormat. There were times when he felt like I need to follow up for more clarity on a point, or I need to ask a difficult question.
You're perfectly free to release your taxes during an audit. So the question is, the public's right to know outweigh your personal.
I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit. Look,
And then one time, when there's this factual dispute about the invasion of Iraq, that's when I need to really push back and come with a fact check.
You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes you?
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2000.
That is a mainstream media nonsense.
And then Holt comes back, well, the record shows otherwise, and we go back and forth on that.
The question is,
Would you like to hear?
Why is your?
I was
why is your
against.
judgment-
Wait a minute. I was against the war in Iraq. Just so you put it out.
The record shows otherwise.
record
Why
does not show
Why would you? Is your
The
judgment?
record shows that I'm right.
He was never going to get a concession from Trump on that point. Trump's just not going to concede that he was in favor of the war.
This is where I disagree with that guy entirely, this random person, news person, because my point is that it was just awful. I'm sorry, a moderator to a debate kind of sees both sides. You see both perspectives, and you have a conversation. I mean, this next debate tomorrow night, which is going to be, I have to cover that, don't I? Oh, no. For next week, surely, ironically enough. But I think that my main problem with that first debate, it was just so, just so off, and it's just, I don't know anymore. I just don't know. We don't know. But I think the point I was going to make there, but he was only picking on Trump. Watch that whole debate, watch the whole 90 minutes, which I had the lovely joys of doing. And you'll see that he only picked on Trump the entire time. No follow-ups to Hillary. I'm sorry, but yeah. I mean, I get it. Your political leanings may shine through a little bit. Hey, mine do. Sometimes I'll fully admit that. But, you know, you can't do that. You can't do that when you're supposed to be this moderating human that moderates things. A moderating human that moderates things. Yeah, English. Oh, good. But, you know what I mean? Like, people were praising him. Oh, he was asking the tough questions. we already knew what the questions were before walking into this debate, so there was no surprises there. But I don't know. It's tough to say, and I know people get caught up in that. It is what it is. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show for Sunday, well, there was a vice presidential debate. If anyone cares, we'll recap it, I guess. Plus, also political fallout from the ground hound racing. We're running a little bit behind, but that's okay. Here on the Generic Live Show, thanks for joining us. It's 9:50.
Want a custom computer? Want to run the latest games at the highest graphics with no lag? Want to build a computer that can make and edit movies or videos like they're professionals? Pugent Systems has your solution. Go to geek-io.net/Pugent to build a brand new custom computer. We'd like to thank Pugent Systems for their support of
This is proudly sponsored by T-Fury. T-Fury is the home of your t-shirt needs. Well, we're all geeks, and we all love wearing t-shirts because, well, society tells us that we can't walk around naked, allegedly. So we've got you covered. T-Fury is the home of t-shirts with geeky design from independent artists. What's there not to love? T-shirts, geekiness, indie. Yay! When you're ready to go check out the range, use our affiliate link over at geek-io.net/T-Fury. So we get a little bit of a kickback off any t-shirt that is bought from the hundreds of t-shirts available at T-Fury. T-Fury, the match made in heaven. The match made in heaven is not actually the T-Fury slogan, although I don't actually know what the Geek Code is sponsored by Tweaked Audio with 7 stars in 7 colors. There are mic and not mic options available. Designs sound great with music and talk, and engineered for durability. All options come with a lifetime guaranteed and a noise-reducing design, just so you don't get distracted and focus on what matters most. Compatible with all of your devices, even those weird Windows phones no one likes. We have an exciting offer just for our listeners. If you use the coupon code GEEK at checkout, you'll receive a third off your order plus free worldwide shipping. Go over to tweakedaudio.com to check out their range, and when you're ready to order, remember to use our coupon code GEEK at checkout for a third off, free worldwide shipping, and that lifetime warranty guarantee. We thank Tweaked Audio for their support of the Geek.io network. This is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. So glad to be with you here on a Sunday. We are running a little bit behind, and that's okay. Next hour, we're going to recap everything you need to know about Ken Matthews. Music picks it up here. Picked up a little bit there. Everything you know about Ken Matthews is going to be going up here at Sunday hour. As you're waking up here on a Sunday here on the Generic Live Show, well, we are running a little bit behind, so we're going to quickly whip through this vice presidential debate that happened. Of course, that is the only debate that vice presidential candidates will get to have It is Senator Tim Kaine and Governor Mike Pence sitting at a dining room table having dinner with the most awfulest person ever. Here's some noise, some highlights of that debate. Here is them on the topic of, by the way, I think it is Donald Trump's taxes. There's two videos. There's Trump's taxes and policing. They're very spicy moments from the debate.
Trump is a businessman, not a career politician. He actually built a business. Those tax returns that came out publicly this week show that he faced some pretty tough times 20 years ago. But like virtually every other business, including the New York Times not too long ago, he used what's called net operating loss. We have a tax code, Senator, that actually is designed to encourage entrepreneurship.
But why won't he release his tax return?
Well, we're answering the question about the business thing.
Donald Trump started this campaign in 2014. He said, if I run for president, I will absolutely release my taxes. He's broken his first promise. Second, he stood on the stage last week, and when Hillary said you haven't been paying taxes, he said, that makes me smart. So it's smart not to pay for our military. It's smart not to pay for veterans. It's smart not to pay for teachers. And I guess all of us who do pay for those things, I guess we're stupid. And the last thing I'll say is, the last thing I want to ask Governor Pence is, Governor Pence had to give Donald Trump his tax returns to show he was qualified to be vice president. Donald Trump must give the American public his tax returns to show that he's qualified to be president, and he's breaking his promise.
Number one from the vice presidential debate. Here is the second spicy moment coming up on the laws over the controversy over stop and frisk.
Here's what I learned as a mayor and a governor. The way you make communities safer and the way you make police safer is through community policing. You build the bonds between the community and the police force, build bonds of understanding. And then when people feel comfortable in their communities, that gap between the police and the communities they serve narrows. And when that gap narrows, it's safer for the communities and it's safer for the police. That model still works across our country, but there are some other models that don't work. An overly aggressive, more militarized model. Do more stop and frisk around the country. That would be a big mistake.
Police officers are investments. And men and women, white, African American, Asian, Latino, Hispanic, they put their lives on the line every single day. And let me say, at the risk of agreeing with you, I think community policing is a great idea. It's working in Hoosier State. And we fully support that. Donald Trump and I are going to make sure that law enforcement have the resources and the tools to be able to really restore law and order to the cities and communities in this nation. It's probably why the 330,000 members of the Fraternal Order of Police endorsed Donald Trump as the next president of the United States of America, because they see his commitment to them. They see his commitment to law and order.
That is spicy moments from the vice presidential debate, otherwise I've lovingly called it two ice cream freezers throwing vanilla ice cream at each other, which that would actually be more entertaining if vanilla ice cream tubs decided to come out of the mirror and come out of it. I don't know why I'm so down on this election. I have no idea why I'm so down on this election. It's I feel like it's because I've been oversaturated with it as a consumer of news. I think that's what it is. I'm just getting fatigued now because I've been so overly overwhelmed and overly immersed in this presidential election that it's kind of just, it's just felt like it's time. Okay, it's time to go. I listened to a morning talk conservative talk show. Conservative morning talk show, if I put the words in the right order, and they they talk about the election all the time. They talk about Trump. It's interesting from their perspective because they have someone who supports Trump and someone who doesn't support Trump, and they fight, of course, every day. But they political show, and I feel like it's kind of rock and sock and robots when it comes to this election cycle. I mean, I don't know whether I'll be happy, whether I'll be not happy, if and when this election is finally over. But it has to end, right? It has to end. It'll end. And that is all I'm going to be talking about the presidential and vice presidential debates today. Thank Lord. As we continue here on the Generic Lab Show, we'll give you all the information that you need in regards to Hurricane Matthew as it decides to unleash the howls on the US as we continue here on the Generic Lab Show. Thanks for joining us here on a Sunday. It's 10 o'clock.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by you. That's right, you. Over at patreon.com/geekio, where you can help us out with a small monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Do you know anything that you can buy for $1 a month? I don't. That's right though, $1 a month, when there's no terms, there's no conditions, $1 per month to help us out to unlock some really, really cool goals. A goal that I personally want to help unlock is the weekly Mana Pool Show, which is a weekly playthrough of D&D 5th edition. It would be really cool if we could do that weekly. And you can help that happen with as little as $1 per month. That's right, $1. $1. There's nothing you can buy with a buck these days. A buck a month would help us out tremendously. Just head on over to patreon.com/geekio to help us out. We thank you. This podcast is listened by Amazon. Amazon has all the needs in life on all occasions. Sure. Amazon stocks a large range of pretty much everything. Everything from automotive to baby to computers, payment cards, groceries, health and personal care, and everything for Amazon Kindles, ebooks, movies and television, magazines, office products, and stuff for your patio, lawn, and garden. Hey, they even sell sports goods. If you're into sports ball. If you're ready to check out the range at Amazon.com, use geek-io.net/Amazon to help out the Geek-io Podcast Network. We get a little bit of a kickback through our affiliate link there. That's geek-io.net/Amazon. Amazon, everything for everything.
Hey you! Yes, you, fine listener of this program. You can help us become more than what we already are. I know, it's a revolution. Hold on to your butts, because I'm about to give you a URL address that could change our lives. Not really, but it would help us out tremendously if you went over to geek-io.net/support, so we can do a lot more than what we're actually doing now. That website actually has a lot of links on it where you can help us out monthly through Patreon, our Patreon site, patreon.com/geekio. Or you can help us out once off by supporting those who support us. But then you can become the ones who support us, who support you, who support us. It's supportception. To continue this supportception, it's in your hands. Go to geek-io.net/support. It's ever long cycle of support
on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try Audible.com now and get your first 30 days of the Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes one audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of network.
Whatever the time of day, whatever the time of the night, we're here to serve you a big dose of genericness with your host, Dale Campbell. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday where that's giving you a big dose of genericness for a Sunday. Hour 2, still an hour ago. Thanks for joining us here on a Sunday when Dale Campbell said you're waking up on the East Coast. Waking up to find quite a sight as Hurricane Matthew has caused record-breaking flooding, destructive winds, and just havoc on the east coast of the US. What we know now is that nothing has really changed this hour. It's still, people are still waking up. It's 6 minutes past 8 now. So people are still getting their Sunday up and moving. If you are listening to the Generic Live Show, thank you for choosing the Generic Live Show to be up and moving on a Sunday. It's tough, but it's okay because we have all of the information you need at around 5 a.m. Eastern time. So last an hour before. For some reason that's bang. Okay. About 5 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday, so about here about 3 hours ago.
His beauty is at a moment that stops you in your tracks.
Let's not do that. Why are there so many ads? Anyway. Okay. Why is that timer going up? Video starts in 28, 29. Yeah. It's been downgraded to a tropical, post-tropical cyclone at around 5 a.m. Eastern time. It's moving eastward towards the Atlantic at 14 miles an hour. It has near 75 mile an hour winds at the center. ABC News meteorologist Daniel Manso cautions record-breaking flooding will continue along eastern North Carolina this morning. This will end later on Sunday. The Outer Banks and Mid-Atlantic will continue to see very gusty winds and heavy rain this morning. Quote, President Obama signed major disaster declarations that will provide more federal money and resources than Florida and Georgia this morning as well. That is new news. So that's good to hear as well. Matthew did actually make landfall at around 10:45 a.m. on Saturday at Cape Remind National Well near Clarenvale, South Carolina, where the eye of the storm was found. Storm of, okay, let's see. We're going to get a connection. I hear we're going to get a connection to a live stream of of the radar so I can tell you where it actually is. This might be clunky. This might not actually work. But it's worth a shot. This morning, though, we're going to keep going through 10 reported deaths as well from this hurricane. US deaths. The Haiti deaths are hundreds there. Oh, there's still more ads. Why is there still more ads? Okay. So that we're getting that on the way. People without power. 2 million utility people, utility users are without power. That's on Saturday night in South Carolina, 833, Florida 673, North Carolina 457, and Georgia 276. Let's get to this live stream. If it'll let us. Now we've invested too much time to go back. Now we've got it all. That is on Saturday night. I don't know where the updated figures are for those, but they're fairly outdated. Here we go. We're looking at, or I'm looking at, on the YouTube as well. We're looking at destruction caused by the hurricane as well. You see entire, I do apologize for the noise, but it's coming from an aerial shot, so I don't have any control over that. We're seeing whole farms in North Carolina destroyed, the paddocks. The structures, from what I can see, are fine in North Carolina. Florida might be a different story on the other hand. But just looking at North Carolina, aerials as they come in to, of course, all the major roads are cut off and traffic's cut off. It's destroyed whole paddocks. Animals are stranded, by the way. That's what it looks like there. Animals are quite stranded as it kind of moves in on another aspect there. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting to look at. That thing. What is that over? Okay, we're looking at a small town. Is what I'm. From the guy hearing in my ears. Taking a wider look at that local county and, excuse me, again, we're seeing roads cut off. Oh wow, there's a house that's completely stranded. There's this random house that is completely stranded in the middle of nowhere. That is, wow. There's one house that's completely stranded in the middle of flood waters. So not everyone has the luxury of still being able to be on a road. Are there people still in there? There's ducks taking advantage of that. Okay. Oh, wow. There was people still in there too. There were people that was interesting to actually kind of have a look at. So go to the YouTube video to see that as well. That's interesting to have that aerial shots playing, and how like spotty the flooding is as well. How spotty the flash flooding is. Where where some access to off-road and some people are stranded out in the middle of nowhere. We're going to hear from ABC momentarily about the latest information that we have. We're going to forward it to you, Matthew, and then we've got CNN telling us about the storm surge and why they're so high when it comes to the storm surges in this case. Here is ABC. With
menacing the southern coast with life-threatening storm surges. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is reporting.
No, what do you say, bye?
Powerful Category 2 hurricane showing its force, torrential downpours and powerful winds of up to 110 miles per hour. In Haiti, the death toll soaring, the storm leaving close to 300 dead. Here in St. Augustine, Florida, devastating flooding.
More than 1 million people without power here in Florida. We are part of that group. We're staying at a hotel, no power here. You can see they use glow sticks to light the way to the hallway.
The storm's dangerous center as it moves north. States of emergency declared in Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Matthew tearing through Melbourne and Vero Beach 2. In its aftermath, water taking over the town, swallowing park benches, whole streets, tearing up roofs and tearing down trees. More than 3 million people fleeing their homes from Florida up to the North Carolina coast as Matthew now sets his sights on Georgia.
Keep tracking the storm and the political turbulence 24/7.
Yeah, well, don't even go there. Now over to CNN explaining more about just after I play this a little bit. CNN breaks it down a little bit in terms of the what it looks like in terms of the mechanics of the cyclone. Note, the CNN information is not as updated as the ABC one. We did fact check that as well, but the mechanics still count.
The 8 o'clock advisory now for Hurricane Matthew, down the way, Category 1 hurricane at 85 miles per hour, very close to Charleston, South Carolina, just off the coast of Folly Beach at this hour. There still will be gusts, though, likely over 100 miles per hour. The storm is turning to the right, glancing off the Isle of Palms, eventually toward Myrtle Beach, and then all the way toward Wilmington, and then into the Atlantic Ocean for maybe a big loop. We'll have to see. At this point in time, the loop may not be anything of interest. By the time it gets back down to the south, the storm may be completely torn up. Significant storm surge overnight in the Savannah area, in the Tybee Island area, and also into Charleston. Charleston, you still have about 4 or 5 hours before high tide. Charleston's low tide this morning was higher than the high tide should have been. So now that we push the water back in with high tide, Charleston will be flooding all morning into the afternoon. It could be a very ugly morning and ugly afternoon for Charleston and those surrounding areas. Now we'll take a look at what's going on here. The rain moving up the coast, rain all the way to D.C., rain all the way into Virginia, as far south as Georgia. As we zoom in, we'll see that heavy rainfall with some very heavy bands around Folly Beach, moving up to about Sullivan's Island and then into the Isle of Palms area and even the Wild Dunes, picking up very heavy wind and very heavy rainfall. The problem with this storm, I think, is still going to be the storm surge. Storm surge is the water that is pushed by the hurricane. Now, typically on a Category 1, where we are now, we'd have maybe 2 to 3, maybe as much as 4 to 5 feet of storm surge. But because this storm was a Category 3, and for a while Category 4, for so long, this will likely have more surge than a typical Category 1 hurricane. It may, pushing up some of these estuaries in the low country, get all the way to Category 3 type surge. So if you're still in the way, if you're hunkered down, try to stay out of the way of this. This water will be forceful and the wind's still coming in. We could see high tides, especially around 1, 2, 3 o'clock, depending on where you are along the coast. 5 to 7 feet above where you should be, maybe as much as 9 feet above normal high tide. That could be deadly.
What is beauty?
unfortunately, it has proven to be deadly as well, with those fatalities, and it is still dangerous as people wake up at about 19 minutes past 8 here on a Sunday. It's still, be wary if you are quote unquote out of the path of the hurricane at this point. I'd say those lower parts of Florida, particularly on the eastern side of Florida, the eastern coast of Florida, just be wary that rain may be still continuing as that cyclone warms around. We'd be failing to mention, without leaving the segment real quick before we take our break, about tropical storm Monica, I believe it is. I've already closed the thing. There's another tropical storm that is allegedly out there as well. According to the latest tracking maps, it's not going to impact the Matthew storm, but there's still a slight chance that they may meet. But the tropical storm of Monica, I think it's called Monica. Do not hold me to that. And Matthew colliding may not be the case, as it's going away from the coast. Well, so is Matthew, but it's going at a different rate away from the coast than what Matthew is. It may collide, it may not. We'll have to see where the two parts meet, because it's going to be up where Matthew is by Friday, and Matthew's going to be out towards the coast as soon as Tuesday. But remains to say that that threat has been downgraded as well. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. Well, 000, you know, everyone knows 000. Because they're wanting to move 000 offshore. This story is actually ridiculous. It's actually got my blood boiling when I saw this story. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush when I saw this story about trying to offshore 000. It's America. Oh no, it's Australia. Oh, damn it, it's Australia. We still want our emergency services here in Australia. Keep things local. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us. It's Dale Campbell with you. 1022.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is JD from Howard Stacks here talking about ProXPN. It is a private VPN, which basically means it is going to mask your IP address, protecting your data. So if you're out on the interwebs doing things you might not need to be doing, or if you're banking online overseas, it will help mask your data and keep it completely private. And you can do this for only $6.25 a month regularly, or you can use Geek20 for 20% off. So it's a pretty stellar deal, guys. I'm just going to be honest, with all of the stuff that we've had going on, it's a good idea to invest in something like ProXPN.com. So I am JD, and I approve this message.
Hello, dear listener. Always happy to give some support to the little person. So today I'd like to let you know about a small internet startup called Amazon.com. Go to geek-io.net/Amazon to check out their large catalogs of books and magazines. I believe they may have some other items for sale too, records and videotapes perhaps. Using geek-io.net/Amazon, let them know you discovered them through us and they'll throw a few pennies our way. Thank you.
Finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show.
with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on the live show for a Sunday. So good to be here with you on a Sunday in 2 hours. On the way home, it's Rockland Musical and Wednesday. I like it. Yes. Thanks for joining us. It's so good to be here. It's sort of royalty music, so we might as well. It's there. We might as well use it. Thanks for joining us here on the Trent Live show for a Sunday with Dale Campbell. Now, my traditional side of me, I'm not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination, but I am quite traditionalist sometimes when it comes to particular things. Now, 000, when I say 000, a lot of Australians, all of Australians should know what that means. But the federal government has ruled out sending, the federal government has ruled out sending 000 emergency call centers overseas following its call to tenders to take over from. So I think Telstra was planning, if I understand the story correctly, Telstra was planning to send it over to the US, but the US government's like, you're not. No. Our emergency system stays right here. Communications Minister Mitch has hit back at comments from the communications union saying the service will remain in Australia. What? This is a technical comment as per the notice of Australia Austender website. He said in a statement on Saturday, the union should cease its entirely predictable fear-mongering. Unquote. The comments gained the Commission Union National President Shane Murphy says the government's announcement opens the door for overseas call centres. Quote, are they simply looking to cost conservation? Oops. Cut costs by shipping Australian jobs offshore at the expense of skilled, qualified workers by providing an efficient essential service. Excuse me. Mr. Murphy said in a statement, if this tender is simply about saving costs by sending Australian jobs overseas, the government should be ashamed of itself. By the way, live broadcasters, you still have the dumped audio in there. I feel like I feel like that's too much for the podcast. If this tender is simply about saving costs by sending Australian jobs overseas, the government should be ashamed of itself. The government called for expressions of interest in the national emergency system on Thursday for a review that focused on keeping the pace with technological advances, keeping pace with technological advances. Wow, I should be banned from reading. Excuse me, there was something in my throat today. Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like it's just, I don't know. I do know, but I don't know why the government decided it would be a great idea to open tenders up to, I don't know, everywhere else in the world except for here. It's to save costs, sure, but that's about it. I feel like that's the main reason here. There's no jobs, and I think they should be ashamed of themselves. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. They should, by golly, be ashamed of themselves, because there is no way in the 9 heavens that this would have gone through if an international tender would have gone through. I think it may not have been the initial intent to take the tenders away from Telstra. Maybe it was a contract thing. I don't know the details there, but to open it up to everyone and their willy-nilly, everyone else, no, I'm sorry, you are keeping that call center here in Australia, and it's not leaving. Imagine if they did ship it over there. Like, it would be, queue times would be awful, and you couldn't do it. You just, no. All sorts of no on this one. It's just, I don't know what to think about this sort of stuff. I mean, I know that selling of assets is a big thing, but you kind of can't you can't cut this one. There's no way you can slice and dice from emergency services, because emergency services are there for emergencies. That's what I call them, emergency services. But I feel it's too far. It's too far. Where do you draw the line when it comes to cutting emergency services? Yeah, 000 is where you apparently cross the line. Not power, not power, not gas, not water, but 000. Yeah. As we continue here on the Generic Live show, we will get to this Greyhound story. Plus, we will talk about the South Australian blackout that happened last week as well. It's a wake-up call to the Energy Minister. Should South Australia be really investing in wind farms? So I believe this story is about. You would not want to miss this next segment of the Generic Live show, because it is going to be so rapid paced. I don't think even I'm going to be able to keep up with it as we continue here on a busy Sunday, busy second hour, jam-packed second hour, 10:31.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by you. That's right, you. Over at patreon.com/geekio, where you can help us out with a small monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Do you know anything that you can buy for $1 a month? I don't. That's right, though. $1 a month. But there's no terms, there's no conditions. $1 per month to help us out, to unlock some really, really cool goals. A goal that I personally want to help unlock is the weekly Mana Pool show, which is a weekly playthrough of D&D 5th edition. It would be really cool if we could do that weekly, and you can help that happen with as little as $1 per month. That's right, $1. $1. There's nothing you can buy with $1 these days. $1 a month would help us out tremendously. Just head on over to patreon.com/geekio to help us out. We thank you.
Hi, this is JD. You know me from outside. It's another popular thing that haven't quite caught on yet. Something that has caught on, that would be Think Geek. And everybody loves Think Geek. You can get Hanzo ice cubes, Daleks, sonic screwdrivers. Hell, I'm drinking a screwdriver now, but only because, I love Think Geek. And you can get all of those things except for, the screwdriver at geek-net/thinkgeek. And once again, I'm JD from How It Stacks. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is JD from How It Stacks here talking about ProXPN. It is a private VPN, which basically means it is going to mask your IP address, protecting your data. So if you're out on the interwebs doing things you might not need to be doing, or if you're banking online overseas, it will help mask your data and keep it completely private. And you can do this for only $6.25 a month regularly, or you can use Geek20 for 20%. Guys, and I'm just going to be honest, with all of the stuff that we've had going on, it's a good idea to invest in something like ProXPN.com. So I'm JD, and I approve this message.
Whether we're waking you up or putting you to sleep, this is the Generic Live Show with Dale Campbell. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday segment. This is GLS. All right. All right. Here's the deal. Now, no, that Australia, South Australia, the whole of South Australia was out of power. I think it was last Friday night. Anyway, here's the deal. South Australia was out of power. They had no power. The whole state was out of power. No power. I don't know why I'm talking like that. It must be the coffee. It's the coffee. Power. You know what that reminds me of? A Cool Whip. Out of power. Anyway, it's pretty bad. I don't know why I'm making fun of it, but anyway, so Australia's energy ministers have approved an independent review to create a blueprint for energy security. In the midst of all of that terribleness going on, the decision came after the federal government was called an emergency GOAG meeting in Melbourne on Friday in response to South Australia's blackout. Federal Energy Minister John Frydenberg said the act was a quote-unquote wake-up call for ministers and collective response is needed. Opposition leader Bill Shorten accused the Prime Minister of backflipping, which is kind of difficult to do because I've tried to actually backflip, and that's really difficult to do, or empirically backflip. Renewing calls for more clean energy investment. There's a full stop there. Treasurer of South Australia, Tom says he feels vindicted by the explanation for why his state blackout occurred, but it wasn't the intermittent nature of wind energy or renewable energy that caused the system. What it was a system glitch, a software error. Mr. Kalkun said, okay, first of all, a software glitch to make the whole state's power go out? Not likely. Second of all, and then it should be all hunky-dory. Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce said the storm was, quote, just a thunderstorm, unquote, and, quote, unremarkable, unquote, in the global sense, linking the blackout to the state's reliance on renewable energy. Mr. Joyce issue with opposition leader Bill Shorten's remark that the storm, which caused a statewide blackout, was so serious it caused 80,000 lightning strikes. Okay, I've been in a few storms in my time. I'm from the country, I can say this. I'm sorry, but 80,000 lightning strikes? That's actually a pretty decent storm if it caused 80,000 lightning strikes. No storm lightning causes 80,000 lightning strikes. It was certainly a severe weather event, but the SLP about the fact it was unremarkable. It was called a storm, unquote, he told reporters in Adelaide on Friday. Yeah, well, yikes. Each state and territory have very renewable energy targets, by the way. The national target is 15%, but with the aim of 23% by 2020. The federal minister said a review for the national target will be in 2017. Now, you cannot blame renewable energy on this one. I'm sorry, but renewable energy is going to help with this sort of thing, particularly if it's wind energy or something like that. It's bound to help with this, right? Because you got to think. Because if it did, it would help with it. I'm not gonna lie. It would help with the stats of it all, because it's going to reduce the amount of dependence on the electrical grid. If there's whole towns powered by wind energy, they're not going to have to rely on thunder strikes. The thunder strikes, they took out the traditional mechanisms anyway, which most of the state is still controlled on anyway. The other part of the state I can't really comment on, although I don't even know, are there actual towns in South Australia that are run on that electricity, wind energy, I'm getting a no in my ear, which means no. If you have a no in your ear, that's definitely a no, right? So, or people are just saying no, Dale, just no. The solar shape like that was interesting though, but I can't really, at the time it was relevant, but now it's like, it's kind of a story in the background. I think I had this in here last week when I was going to do a show, but I was going to do it. I didn't do a show, obviously, but it could have been avoided if, whole town had power, a whole state, a whole town, I can understand. A whole town, no. It's a bit much. But yeah, there is that. Now, changing gears completely to a story since the first hour. The ban on greyhound racing. Speculation grows over New South Wales. Backflip. There could be backflip. Yay. Greyhound racing ban. Ban in New South Wales is looking increasingly likely, and the office of the Premier is refusing to boards. He is preparing to back down on the decision. The ban passed by the New South Wales Parliament in August is coming into effect in July. The Deputy Premier Tony Grant has borne the brunt of the internal correlation backlash and is expected to face a leadership challenge at the Nationals Party meeting on Moon Day. But okay, and a New South Wales Liberal Party. I don't know why this article has the word. I don't know why this article has the word "an." New starts with an N, so it should be a New South Wales political. A New South Wales Liberal Party source said the Premier was wavering and a rehearsal of the ban seemed likely by the end of the month, and another said Bird had left the issue. While a rehearsal was expected and a self-inflicted damage, the government had already been done. There were speculations, however, that Bird back then could come before the delivery of a report on how to manage the shutdown in order to attempt to save Grant's leadership. We were talking about this, something about 2014 report, already said that. That one, already did that back in August. The ban was sparked by a report of the Special Commission inquiry into the state's greyhound racing industry, which found widespread illegal activity. So that's what triggered it all. By the way, want to mention as well here real quick, I find it quite interesting that greyhound racing could be unbanned. If that makes sense. It's weird. I think because of the leadership's quote unquote spill, but it's ridiculous to think about a leadership spill could cause to the ban of the greyhound racing. Although the greyhound racing industry down there is huge, but to be fair though, illegal activity is illegal. Well, but I've always said if it's not hurting anyone, why is it the government structure going in and tackle them for it? Again, traditionalist here. You're talking to a traditionalist, so I see both sides. But if the government is intervening here, particularly if there's something going wrong, like illegal live baiting and what have you, which is what the inquiry, it passed the parliament, and they're like, well, we don't like this anymore, so we're going to back off it. Yeah, that is quite literally what is happening here, because these people annoy the heck out of me. Why pass it, and then stand behind the policy? It's the fact that Mike Byrne doesn't want to stand behind a policy that he makes ever. I don't like the guy. I don't know why I don't like the guy, but it happens. If you've been a long time listener of this show, you know that the Sydney Siege is the only time that I've agreed with Mike Bird ever on this show. I don't know why I've disagreed with Mike Bird, but there you go, I have. But what was my point there? It's all for a leadership spill, by the way. Just want to put that out there. All this is for a leadership spill, but yeah. Some people annoy me. People do really annoy me. By the way, apparently, WikiLeaks released excerpts of from Clinton's Wall Street speeches. Apparently, WikiLeaks claimed to leak things from speech. They hold transcripts now. Don't know. Meanwhile, that happens to that. By the way, I just want to say this is probably half the reason why I'm over this election. Because that happens to Hillary Clinton, and what does Donald Trump do in response? Shit all over a female reporter quite literally. No, not literally. I shouldn't say that. That's harsh. It just implies that he would enjoy quoting her because, well, that's a thing. So, you know, that is probably why I'm over this election, because there cannot be an easy winner in this election cycle. So I did have to take water then coffee rather, because my throat is super dry. Meanwhile, Facebook have decided to do something a little bit different. They decided to now enable private messages. So, sorry, secret conversations, they're called. So instead of just shooting a message to someone, you can now shoot them a secret conversation. If you're among 1 billion global users using Facebook to send and receive messages, you'll want to know about the recently released secret conversations feature. I'm whispering this, isn't it? Because it's scandalous. Until now, words and images passed through users via Facebook Messenger app would easily be encrypted. Secret conversations. You can now participate in ultra. I take myself seriously. Participate in ultra private chats. Set your messages to automatically delete after a predetermined time. According to Macworld magazine, the new secret conversations feature cannot be enabled by default. A new for each message thread. Once that is done, a user has the option of allowing that particular conversation to remain visible to both chat participants. 5 seconds to a more leisurely 24 hours. Oh my. But my shitty, sexy voice is shitty, or you can feel confident that your private messages will remain private during the transmission of being received. That's pretty cool, I guess. Facebook needed something like this. Well, that's what the private messages were for, but I don't know why it's now become a new thing to send private messages. secret when private messages should have had that function ages ago. That's I don't know. I'm kicking it off, Scott. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show, well, we cover a lot on this show. And by a lot, I mean a lot, but this next story is got to be probably one of the weirdest stories I think we've ever covered on this show. We'll tell you more about it as we continue here on the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us. It's 10:50.
Oh, listener, it is with a heavy heart that I come to you with a word of warning. Dark things are on the internet. I know, like me, you thought it was all funny cat pictures and sneezing pandas, but apparently there was also pornography, digital movie downloads and such, and people are accessing them secretly using ProXPN. To make matters worse, they're using our promotion code GEEK20 to save money while doing so. Even the regional sanctity of online services such as Netflix and Hulu are being bypassed in this way. That was not the intention of Geek.io offering you a discount using Geek20 at checkout. So please, only use Geek20 to save 20% at checkout with ProXPN if you're going to use it for secure and safe interneting while banking and watching the YouTubes. Thank
This Geek.io podcast network is proudly sponsored by ThinkGeek. ThinkGeek is the biggest online retailer of all things geeky. That's right, everything geeky. And they stock the biggest brands in geekiness like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comics, and Geek Labs. And they sell a whole bunch of things like collectibles, electronics, gadgets, t-shirts and apparel, gifts. They sell it all over at ThinkGeek. And they have free shipping on orders over $75 or our flat $6.95 US standard shipping to all places in the US. So when you're ready to check out the range over at ThinkGeek, the online geek superstore, just use our link to go over to ThinkGeek over at geek-io.net/ThinkGeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on what you buy. Don't worry, we're not stealing your shoe size or asking you for a blood sample. It's okay. We're only getting you buy, but actually see what you buy from ThinkGeek. Join in, geek out, ThinkGeek. We thank ThinkGeek for their support of the Geek.io.
I got bad news for you. Your t-shirt sucks. You should take it off and buy a new one. And the best place to buy your t-shirt is www.geek-io.net/T-Fury. Because I can have a t-shirt, you can have a t-shirt, but you better not get it from anywhere else but T-Fury. Prove this message.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Amazon. Amazon has all of your needs for all occasions. Amazon stocks a large range of pretty much everything. Everything from automotive to baby to computers, payment cards, groceries, health and personal care, and everything for Amazon Kindles, ebooks, movies and television, magazines, office products, and stuff for your patio, lawn, and garden. Hey, they even sell sports goods. If you're into sports ball. If you're ready to check out the range at Amazon.com, use geek-io.net/Amazon to help out the Geek.io podcast network. We get a little bit of a kickback through our affiliate link there at geek-io.net/Amazon. Every occasion. Everything very like for Amazon. Amazon's not available in all areas. the most generic live show. This is the generic live show with Dale Campbell.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show here on a Sunday. Thanks for joining us. We're heading into the end of the show here. Get another week done. And it's here on the show, we try and keep a variety of things. We cover the important things and we cover the not so important things. But I think this next story is just bizarre. Okay, you're gonna have to stay with me. An item has come out this week. It's an Apple accessory of sorts. It's $24. So I don't know what Apple accessory this is that it's only $24. But there you go, it's only $24. You can enjoy it hand poured. It has lots of features, and it what can I say now? People are hyped up about it. Okay, there you go. And you can buy it online. But it actually takes you back. It gives you a sense. It gives you a sense to what it was like back in the old days. Back when you had the excitement and on verge of anxiety, and that the nervous feeling you got when you got something like this. But Apple, there's one question where you should put it in your house for maximum use. Should you put it in the office? Should you put it in the kitchen? Should you put it in the bedroom? Oh my! Should you put it in the bathroom? You can put it anywhere you want it in your house, by the way. Just want to put that out there. It is from a company, so it's not by Apple, I should say that, but it's an Apple accessory. It's an Apple accessory company, sorry, so it's an Apple accessory. 12 South is the company. And they've just released a candle. That's right, a candle, as in the thing made from wax that you burn. Just for $24, you too can enjoy a hand-poured 100% soy wax candle with scents of mint, peach, basil, lavender, mandarin, and sage. I don't know how that equates to the scent of quote-unquote new Mac, but enough people are hyped about it, so the candle's actually going for sale, would you believe it or not. Well, I don't know. Have I smelled? I can't believe I'm about to ask this question. Have I smelled a MacBook up close? I know I've been around MacBooks, but I don't know if I've actually smelled them up close before. But I can't imagine them being that good smelling. Yeah, I don't know how. Also, by the way, I don't know how mint peach, basil, lavender, mandarin, and sage all the way to being a new MacBook. Quite a new MacBook smell. You know, I actually do want this because I want things in my office. So I really want my office to smell like that MacBook feel. But really, I'm just using a laptop, a Windows laptop. I want it to smell like a Mac though, so you may as well go all out. For $24, a new MacBook candle can be yours. I like this idea. I actually like this idea a lot. Because, you know, the new MacBook smell here, it's probably wouldn't be a bad smell. It'd be a pretty good smell. Just don't put your wireless headphones in the wax. If not, that would be advice. You can lose your candles inside the MacBook candle now. It's Inception. Oh my gosh. You can plug your headphones in after all. Thanks for joining. Don't do that. Don't do what I say. Oh, wow. That's an odd story. Hope you liked that. And I hope you liked the show today. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us here on a Sunday. So glad you can be with us. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for joining us. It's 11 o'clock.
This has been a Chef on the Media production. For more, visit chefonthemedia.net. Delivered fresh to your ear holes. Copyright 2016.
This has been a podcast of the Geek Out Media Network, where you put your geek in and geek out. For more, please head over to geek-io.net. Copyright 2016.